Alright. So, you know, maybe we should do a different picture, right? Here, it's a new day. Let's pick a new one to break down. How about we do that instead? Let's get a new panel. Bink, bink. Let's insert a photo. And we're going to go down to... we'll go to the holy shit folder. Bink. Alright. Oop. My bad. Oh, you know what? Here, let's do this one today. Alright, let's do this. Give me this one here. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Yeah, we'll make it about that big. Okay. And then let's also insert this one here. Put this guy over here. We're gonna make them about the same size. And alright, so let's show y'all some shit today. I guess we could use this one too. Let's shrink that down a little bit. Drop that bad boy over here. Alright. Actually, let's rearrange that. Let's go like this. Give me this one. It's here. Give me this one. Yeah, we'll keep him in the middle. Put him in the middle. Give me this one. Let's move this over here. Alright, so we're going to discuss some things today. And I'm going to show you irrefutable proof, because all these old school things that you're reading right now are based off of old school terminology, right? And so there's a lot of confusion, right? Now, let's see. Let's make it so. Let's get some people in here. We got to throw in a picture of, say, Jesus. Let's go find Jesus. Like, let's throw him in the mix as well, because people really like to talk about this guy like they know what he's talking about. So we're gonna, or what his book is about. So matter of fact, we'll bring out the silencer, Jesus the silencer. Okay, we'll put him over here. Okay. Yeah, you see him over there? Look at him. Look at him fucking. Oh, don't say nothing. Don't teach him shit. All right, so look, let me show you something, right? So a few things about the stories of the Bible. All right, a couple things about it. Matter of fact, here, let's bring out a new layer. Change the color of the pen. And go with we'll go with the black one because that one shows up the best. All right, so check this out, right? I want you to recognize some things about how the world is made up and shit like this. Okay, now, okay, right? So I want you to check this out, right? This is your boy Jesus up here. Jesus, right? Now, you learn about Jesus in the Bible, but the problem is that you're trying to understand something that was written a long time ago with current day words. And that doesn't work, okay? See, your medical system is the thing that gives away the keys to it, okay? I want you to realize a couple things, all right? Okay, see this section right here, your cervical vertebrae? See this right here? Okay, at the top of this top vertebrae is known as atlas. Okay? Check this out, okay? This is the atlas. Okay? Now the atlas sits atop of the dens, right? Now the dens sit above the axis. All right? I want you to think about this. What's the other word for atlas? What's the other word for atlas? The world. Right? So the other word for atlas is the world, right? And the world has an axis to it, right? They tell you about this, right? Now down here, right? Down here you have this thing that's called the heart. Why is that so thin? Hold on a second. Let's make that a little bit thicker. All right, now it's too thick. All right. So over here you have your heart, right? But that's EARTH, okay? See, you have your atlas, which is your map. You have the axis, which is the direction that leads you to the earth. Okay? Your earth is right here. Right? So I want you to notice something, right? Above this, right? Right? Because these are your 7 vertebrae right here. These are your cervicals, okay? Your atlas is right here. Okay? Below that is your dens, right? Because Daniel went to the what? The lion's den, right? Right? He went to the lion's den, right? And that was below, right? That was in the chamber, right? I'm going to show you that real quick. Give me a second. Now, this is the axis, which is these 5 over here. These 5 vertebrae in here are known as the atlas, right? I mean, the axis, right? So that's the way that the world rotates, right? Or, right, see, because your world is on a different axis than the heavens, right? Your head, that's your haven, right? You've got temples, right? Right, you got temples on either side of the head, right? Now, right above this, right above this, where the world is at, is called your pons and your medulla, okay? That's in this area right here, okay? It connects the brain down to your spinal column, right? Guess what? You know what's on your pons and your medulla? The pyramids. Okay? The pyramid is above the dens axis. Now you know why they have a pyramid that's called the dens axis. Right? Think about it. They have a pyramid that's called dens axis, and the pyramid that has dens axis has 2 lions that sit at the very front of it, right? Why would that be? The 2 lions that sit before the fucking pyramid, that sit in the lion's den, where the atlas is at, because it's the access to the world, the axis, okay? Now, hold on, let me show you something real quick. Let's go. Let me show. I'm gonna break this shit down for you so that you understand what you're reading when you're reading these books, because you're not reading a map of the world, you're reading a map of the body. So let's go in here and let me show you some things about these pyramids. Let's see, where's that one about the dens axis? Hold on a second, because we actually have that one already put together over in Mental Magic. I don't know if any of you have ever studied mental magic, right? But I am officially a representative, like, on all levels. Yeah, I love it. I fucking love it. Now, give me 1 second while I find you this pyramid. Hold on. It's the one with the Sphinx in front of it. I'm going to show you something very significant about the Sphinx as well. All right. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see. Hey, put a 1 in the chat if you also want to know what the secret of the Sphinx is. Even though I've already partially given you part of it. Let's see. Where is the one with the Dens Pyramid? All right, you guys want to know about the Sphinx too? All right, I'll show you guys about the Sphinx. All right, look, before we move forward, let me just show you what's in front of me. All right, this is your medulla, right? See, spinal cord connects down here, right? This is your pons and your medulla, okay? Now, I want you to notice on your pons and your medulla, right? See this area right here? These are your olives. You know how in the Bible they talk to you about an olive tree? Right? No, it's not called a myrrh. I don't want to hear none of your bullshit about none of that fucking public stuff that they pass around. Okay? So when they're talking about your olive tree in the Bible, this is what they're talking about. These are the olives. These are literally called your olives. The olivary, right? The olive. Okay? This is what they're talking about. They're not talking about a tree growing outside. It's all internal stuff. Okay? These are the olives that they're talking about in the olive tree. Now look, right? You see the little turtle? See the turtle? That's your fucking spine and your hips. Okay, everything is built off of the body. Okay, everything mirrors the body. The body is the temple, so the temple represents the body. All of the temples represent different parts of the body. This is the way that the brain wraps up. Okay, this is the center of your brain right here. Okay, these are the parts that come off of it. Right, you've got all of the workings. Right. Oh shit! Damn, where'd it go? My bad. I just took that away. I didn't mean to take that away. Hold on a second. Let me go re-find it. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Hey, look, right? Check this out. Check it out. You ever wonder why that Sphinx was sitting in front of those pyramids? All right, look, check this out, right? The paws, your olfactory bulbs. Okay? Because what you see is the what? The foundation of what you think, right? Now, if you notice the shape of the Sphinx's head, right? That's the shape of your circle of Willis. That's the top part that distributes everything throughout the brain. Okay? You see the tail? Yeah, let's go like that. Maybe that'll make it so you see it better, right? The tail is the basal ganglia. Okay, that's the part that sends the information through the body, right? So the Sphinx itself is the representation of the circle of Willis and being connected to your views and distributing that throughout the body. The pyramid, what's that called? Anybody? Your sacral. Okay, that's the base of the spine, right? You have the head and the base, the body of work. Okay? That's what they're representing. Okay? Now, where is the one that has the actual Dens Pyramid? Hold on a second. I'm trying to find a very specific one. I know it's in here. Great Pyramid in Africa. It's another African one. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let's see. Well. Right, all right, right here. Here's one that everybody's seen before. Abu Simbel. Right? Right, the one that they claim to just have moves, right? And it looks like, you see how they're sitting up here in the front? Right? This is the chamber of the heart. Okay? It's the chamber of the heart and the things that affect it. We still use the diagrams today that all of these things create. Okay? It's your cardiac orientation. That's why it's the males. You notice how the female isn't on here. You see that, right? See how they're all masculine? Masculine is production. Okay? Female is bringing it together. Masculine is the product. Okay? It's the mind and the heart being structured together. Who do you recommend the Book of Wisdom? No, they're actually, matter of fact, here, let me show you. Who do you recommend the Book of Wisdom? No, they're actually, matter of fact, here, let me show you something. All right, look, right? If you want to bring up the Book of Wisdom, you're going to have to bring up the fact that he's been learning from me. And that I'm going to be credited. And so is Mental Magic, the thing that I fucking represent. He's been stealing my material, and so I confronted him about it, and now he's trying to offer me a portion of, you know, having my name in his book and all this other stuff, instead of trying to reimburse me for the fact that he'd been basically borrowing my information, we'll say, for years. Okay? Notice how that's the Book of Wisdom in my inbox. So I don't recommend anybody, because most of the people that you find on social media that are out here trying to teach you guys about these things don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're just regurgitating the things that I've put into works. That's why all that they can do is open up their book and point at things in their book, whereas I can actually give you live lessons and explain the things to you so that it actually makes sense. You understand? That's so why would I don't recommend anybody goes to anybody else. Matter of fact, I recommend that you just trust in yourself and start believing yourself, because all the information that's within me is within you as well. That's why this makes so much sense to you. You see, the thing is that a lot of people don't realize that, you know, the way that this system works, there's new energies, right? There's new energy and there's old energy, right? I don't come from new energy. I come from old energy. Okay, my energy has been in this fucking shit since the very beginning, and I know because I've seen it. I've seen things from the very beginning of it, and I know things about history that most people don't seem to fucking don't know until I put the pieces together. Right? Most of the people that you see trying to teach you about the history of the country, trying to teach you about the history of the world, they're all just regurgitating shit that I've been putting out for the last 5 years. I literally explained the entirety of world history and how it was rewritten and how it started from beginning to current times about 18 profiles ago. now everybody's just bringing out all this stuff that backs up the information that I put out. Unless you read the scriptures in ancient Greek. I'm sorry, are you confused in thinking that ancient Greek is where the scriptures started from? Because I assure you that they did not. All of the scriptures come from the hieroglyphs, the religious books, the Biblos, Helios, which is the record of the sun, which was a book of how the sun affects your body based on the seasons and the times and how it affects the world and the science behind it, the usage of the ether, the sacred geometry, and the ways that you're supposed to conduct yourself to raise your frequency, you know, so that you could be one of those people that lives over 100 and lives to be like 500 years old and shit like that. You get me? I don't need to speak with anybody, my guy. I don't know where you get this idea from, but there's nobody that can teach you anything new that's on social media right now that isn't a reflection of the things that I've put out. The people that have been teaching for a long time can't teach you the way that I can. Right? Let's be realistic about this. You know, let's just be realistic about it. Like, I'm not trying to toot my horn because I learned this, right? That means that I'm regurgitating something as well. But what I'm saying is that when it comes down to these things, you know, I submit to a different type of energy than you do. All right, mine is my own. Mine is the energy that flows beneath and through all things, and that's where I get my source from, right? And I stand on it, right? You see the little foot over there? Right? Standing on the current, right? Putting pressure on the world, right? Changing the frequency, the water, the currency. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the devil, my friend. You failed. You're one of those people that Jesus would have yelled at if the resurrection would have been real, right? Because when they gave you the allegory of him rising again, he was pissed off at everybody that said that they followed him. Why was he pissed off at everybody that he said that followed him? Because his specific instructions were, hold on, let me help you out, my lost friend. The specific instructions were, follow my Father, not me. He didn't tell you that he died to be so that you would be forgiven for all of your sins. He told you repent. He told you pay your homage and do your deeds. He told you act like me and follow in my footsteps, not worship me. You failed the test. Don't come in here with your Jesus stuff when you don't even know what he actually represented and what you were trying to be taught about. This is why he tells you not to follow him and to follow the Father. You're worshiping idols. Beware of false prophets that come to you with in sheep's clothing, but inwardly bear ravenous intent. That say, follow me on to new gods. Jesus told you follow him. He said, don't follow me. Right? He said, don't worship me, follow me. There's a difference. You understand me? No, Rome didn't change or redo his original teachings. Rome gave you those teachings. The Pope is the one that created Christianity. Don't prey on me. I'm good. I'll pass. Me and my creator are fucking perfectly fine. Thank you very much. My creator provides me with all kinds of information to share with you. right? Hey, look, where do you think your Bible comes from? Test the fruit of every tree, my friend. Right? Because a tree that bears good fruit cannot bear poisonous fruit, and a tree that bears poisonous fruit cannot bear good fruit is what they tell you, but that's because they don't know how to interpret shit. You see, all of the things that you're talking about come directly from this. Right? This is where your idea of prayer comes from. Oh, you're supposed to pray. No, you're not, because that's actually your brain. This is your tree. This is why they talk to you about the one accord in the Bible. It's your spinal cord. Right? And just as I was showing before, right, Jesus went down to the earth, if you pay attention. G is us is a sentence. It's not a name. That's actually a sentence, right? Christ is a title. So it's a title and a sentence, right? So Jesus, right, went down from the heavens, right, which are the clouds where the Father's chamber is, right? And that's gray matter, which is your brain, right? And from the heavens down to the earth, right? So that means that he went down past Egypt, right? Because Egypt is where the pyramids are, right? So he was sent down to Atlas, which was the earth, and, you know, on its axis, he went traveling down that narrow path. Right? All your stories of, see, you're sitting here trying to read the Bible in 2025 using words from 2025 that have nothing to do with the words that were chosen when the book was being put together, which is why you can't sit here and preach to me about Jesus, because you don't know shit about what you're talking about. Yeah, ascension. What are you saying when you're saying ascension? Ass. Where's it going to? Down to the ass, down to your coccyx, where the energy is restructured before it's sent back up through the body, right? Because it has to return from the land from which it came. Just like it tells you in the Bible, only the word is spelled incorrectly because it's not the land from which it came, it's the gland. Right? He went down to the earth, right? From the heavens down to the earth. Doesn't your, now check this out, right? Your brain is surrounded by water. Isn't that the waters above? You know, the living waters of the water above? Right? Now, the heavens got created first, remember? Right? The heavens get created first. Why does the heaven get created first? Because when the father impregnates the mother, he sends a fucking brain and a brain stem. The heavens come first. This is a brain. This is your fucking pons in your medulla right here. That's why you have the thick part on the sperm. Then the tail itself is your spinal column, right? Oh, ye that man were a worm. Right? Let me keep speaking to you in scriptures. Oh, ye that man were a worm, right? Right? A worm, right? Your sperm is what? A worm. Right? Everything in your Bible tells you that this is a book about your body, and you're just not able to read it because you're reading it from a 2025 English when that's not the language that it was written in. Yeah, no, we're not parasites. Demons are parasites. These are the things that alter the way that you think. You understand me? Okay? The whole book of Genesis. The whole entire book of Genesis. What is it saying in Genesis? The gene of Isis. But what's Genesis? In all reality, Genesis is a fucking biological process. On to Genesis, the developmental growth of the individual organism. It includes the set of morphological, physiological, and biochemical transformations from the moment of germination up to death. You go through On to Genesis the moment that your sperm hits the egg. Right? So you got the very beginning of the Bible where it explains to you how man is created is in the book of what? Genesis. What up, Swan? What's going on, guy? Right? Right? The very beginning of the book starts in Genesis. Right? The gene of Isis, right? Where you learn about the story of Moses. Right? Moses is the emotional response to your desires. You see Moses sitting there receiving the knowledge from the burning bush in your that made it into your Bible, that's sitting here carved in stone, right? The burning bush would be your cerebellum. That's the thing that determines the emotional response to the things that you witness. See, Moses was a sheep herder, right? He had his shepherd's staff for the sheep. The sheep is your brain. Right? That's why they call you the Lamb of God in the first place. Okay? So that shepherd herder was herding the minds of the people. Right? And he went and spoke to the two serpents. Right? He had to go and speak to the serpent. Right? You see that? The serpents that speak, those are your ventricles and arteries. Right? Those are your ventricles and arteries. And then he got the word of God, which came on the tablets that are in the shape of your lungs, where the word is stored. These things are there for a reason. And he was trying to stop the people from sacrificing to the golden bull. The ox, right? What's the golden bull? Hold on, because this shit gets deeper. Just hold on, we're going to swim just a little bit. It's always getting deeper, right? Because you're the fish, right? You're Jesus, right? Doesn't Jesus wear the fish? You're the fish. You're Jesus. The fish represents your brain. What's the ox represent? Oh, that's exactly Queen. Right? What's the ox represent? The male and female reproductive organs. Your bull. The ox represents the male and female reproductive organs coming together. That's your ox. Let me show you something. Since we're on the subject of alpha and omega, right? Let me show you something real quick. Boop, 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 boop. This is your alpha, right? This is your A, right? What is that? Here, let me draw it out for you. It's the bull. It's the ox. Alpha comes from the Aleph, which is the Alet. No. Which is the ox. Okay? Now, you would think that, right? They tell you that it's the alpha and the omega is the beginning and the end, right? But this is your omega symbol. right? You would think that that would be the letter Z if it's the end, right? But it's not. You know what the alpha symbol is? Because it's all about that Bible. Now do you see it? You have your upper and your lowercase. It's all about the alpha. The alpha and the omega are one and the same. They're one and the same. It's the letter A. It all goes back to the Bible, right? Because this is the masculine version, whereas this is the feminine. Okay? So please stop speaking to me about things that you haven't actually studied. Don't tell me that you're a Christian. Don't tell me that you live your life by this shit when you can't even figure out the basics. Okay? Because you're still thinking that hell equals fire and brimstone. But when the Bible was actually written, hell actually meant the exchequer chamber. Oh, I spelled that wrong. It's E-X-E-Q-U-E-R. Exchequer chamber for debtors to the king. Okay? So there's a big difference, right? Okay? So hell, the definition of hell during the time that the Bible was altered and hell got added into it had nothing to do with, oh, you're gonna burn in the fucking pits of fire and you're gonna be tortured. No, none of that shit existed. That's New Age shit. That's New Age shit. The definition of hell from the time of when it comes from is basically prison for the people that owe money. That's what it is. It's a slave camp. That's what hell is. Hey, what up, Del? I was wondering when you'd find me back. There you go. Good to see you again. Well, aren't you in a type of hell right now? Don't they tell you that you're born in debt? See, this is the part where things get a little complex. See, the beginning of the Bible, the book of Genesis, is how man gets developed. Everything after Genesis is law. Okay? Everything that comes after the book of Genesis is law. You have ecclesiastic. Right? You have trust law, which is what? Faith. Right? And faith deals with righteousness. And righteousness is equity. Right? And then you have the book of Moses, which gives you the story of common law, which is the law of the land, which is why he parts the seas, is because it's the land. Okay, that's your common law, is the book of Moses. Then after the book of Moses, right, you start getting into things like the book of Job, which is the book of Job, which is the role of the servant, right? You get into the book of David, which is the intentions behind the creator, right? There's the book that you're reading is not the book that you think that it is. Currency has always been a form of enslavement. Anybody that was called a slave back in the day was doing work for things that were free. Yeah, it's a book on banking. The whole Bible, like everything after Genesis. Everything after Genesis is the law and structure. of the law. Why do you think you have the story of Jesus who disappears for 18 years and then, okay, right, so check this out. You got Jesus who leaves at 12, comes back at 30, right? That's your 18 years, right? Now, Jesus moves from, all right, now number 30 is your 501c1a in the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, right? That's your IRS code, right? Now, the 18 is the age that you get to register your minor estate. And that's when you should be setting up the 501c3, right? And once you've registered that minor estate in that 50c3, right, you need to wait the 3 years for the 501 to mature, which brings it to you back to the age of 21, which is 3 in numerology. This is 9 in numerology, right? This is a completed process. So now that you're 18, you've completed the process, which makes it so that you can register your estate, which means that you can set up your trust. And right, because you have to show the world that you have trust in God, right? That's where your faith begins from. Trust law. Okay, trust is, by definition, trust is only expressible in a court of equity. Equity is righteousness. That's what's fair and right, what's fair and just. Okay, the courts have no say so over equity, because in equity, what has been done is done. Okay, this is when you're calling on your connection to you and the Creator. Right? The only way to do so is through the trust. That's the only way that you can establish that. Because you have to be Jesus. Right now, the world's ran by what? The Roman Empire. Right? So it's you versus the Romans. The only way that you can go against the Romans is by what? The Creator. What you call God. The governmental ordinance department, the Creator. Okay, so the Creator is the only thing that can give you authority over Rome. You have to do the same thing that Jesus did. You have to remove yourself from the fake religions and separate yourself from your fucking straw man and your entity, right? Because first he was the Son of Man, right? The son of David, right? Right, so first he was the Son of Man, and then he became and rose up and said, I am the Word of God, right? With full dominion over the land, air, and water. The law. With full dominion over the land, air, and water. The law. Okay, so you got names like Yeshua, which is yes, you are. You have Jesus, who is the G is us, because he's a Freemason. Right? That's a Masonic build. That's why Jesus was born in, where was he born? Jerusalem, which is the 30th degree, right? Then he rose up to Bethlehem, which is the 31st, and then, no, I'm sorry, Jerusalem is the 31st, Bethlehem is the 32nd, and the ministry, right, he ascends at the age of 33. Jesus was the Freemason. Okay, so all of the things that you're reading are instructions on how you're supposed to conduct yourself inside that Roman Catholic system, so that you are able to be fully in control. You can do that by becoming a Roman citizen, or you can do that by establishing your trust, right? Right now, you deal with a trust that's called In God We Trust. Okay, that's the name of the trust. That is the name of the trust that is found on your dollars. Okay, the dollar is nothing but a negotiable instrument. It is a trust document. Okay, the name of the trust is In God We Trust. Okay, now the place that it comes from is your Federal Reserve. That's why it's called Federal Reserve Note, right? And then it's got the number that attaches it to your fucking entity. Okay, this is a negotiable instrument. My guy, in order for me to be raised on pagan beliefs, I would have to believe in paganism. You are a pagan because you follow the Son of God on Sunday. And you keep bringing up the Son of God. But S-O-N and S-U-N are interchangeable. So you're really still talking about this. It's not that they're for Satan. You guys look, if you guys keep believing all this common stuff that they put out there, you guys are going to be haunted for your whole life. All that shit that you're storing in your memory that has to deal with demons and devils and all this other stuff. Look, angels are angles. Satan, I don't even know how to spell that the way that y'all want me to spell it. Look, sat in, right? Sat in. It's what you sat in. It's a citizen. Because you sit in sin. Sit in sin. Citizen. Sit in sin. Right? You're a son. Okay? You're part of the Son that's sitting in sin. No, I didn't skip English class, my friend. They taught you English incorrectly. They taught you the most illiterate shit. Let me prove it to you. When you were a kid and they tried to teach you language, what was the first thing that came out of your mouth when you saw this? What was the first thing? You knew how to spell. When you came here, you knew how to spell. They told you a different spell. When you came in here, when you saw this, you said Kniff. That is correct. Kniff is correct. But they have you with silent Ks. Why? Because the K is the one that you're looking for. That's number 11. Right? 11 is your 33rd. You want to know how? What's 33 divided by 3? That's 11, right? Somebody in this country has 3 steps that get to the 33rd. There's an organization in this country that has 3 steps that get you to the 33rd. What do you think they're hiding? Probably that K. Now, Jesus right? Hey, let me ask you something, right? Let me check this out, right? What do you see on all of the Freemason lodges? The G. Right? G, right? G is us. G is us was born in Jerusalem. Jerusalem sits at the 31st and 5th degree. The 31st. Right? Bethlehem sits at the 32nd degree. The G is us ascended at the 33rd. Now, that's done on latitude and longitude, right? Now, they also tell you that Jesus is the capstone or cornerstone of Christianity. There's a lot of lost people in the comments, Jace. Like, you get what I'm reaching so hard. Hold on, let me show you something. Hold on 1 second. Wait. Since you say that I'm reaching, let me show you something. Where the fuck is it? It's right around here somewhere. I just had it. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Ah. That's right. So I'm reaching, huh? How far is it that you think that I'm reaching? Huh? Exactly how far do you think I'm reaching? Because, see, the difference between these Bibles and your Bibles is the fact that they explain things inside of them. They also verify how they created all the language and fucking all the symbolism. And so, you know, not for nothing, but they tell you exactly what it's about. You understand? Because they gave you the words. They gave you the words that you speak. Every single last one of you is a Mason. You all went to Masonic schools. What do you think public school is? Why do you think the first thing you learn about in public school is George Washington, the Freemason? That's the first thing they teach you about, right? All right, so you're getting their words from their school system, from their fucking shit, and you're trying to compare that and learn with that, not understanding the different things that are in play. All right? Now, would you like me to show you? Would you like me to show you how the Roman Catholic Church owns your King James Bible? The Bible that this country was founded on? Let's see. Here, hold on 1 second. Let me just go like this. Bloop. Bloop. Oops, sorry. Hold on, I'll fix it in a second. King James. Hold on, wait, why is that up there? Hold on. Do I need a moderator? Nah, I like them people being in here. They bring me more people because they sit there running their mouth the whole entire time. So it keeps me in rotation. King James copyright owned by Catholic Church. Boop. Oh. Look, right? They say that it's not, right? But look, check this out. Check out they try to fool you. Look, right? Look. No, the King James Bible, the Bible is not owned by the Catholic Church. It's a Protestant translation commissioned by King James of England and is primarily used by Anglican and other Protestant denominations. While the original text is in the public domain, the copyright of the King James Version is in the UK. Oh, right? Is held by the British Crown, right? The Catholic Church uses the Douay-Rheims translation. Hold on, wait. So the King James Version, right, is held by the British Crown. Okay, so let's see. Let's go like this real quick. Boop, boop. Let me show you something real quick. Because you guys think that you're going to escape this. No, we're going to show you. We're going to show you. Now, back, can I just get into my... Hold on, let me see if I can get into my regular photos on here. Because I think I've got them transferred. If I do, then I can just show you right on here. All right, that's Google Photos. I need regular photos. Oh, shit, you guys can't see nothing. Hold on, my bad. Let's go to recent. Don't worry, I don't think there's nothing dirty in let's go to recent. Don't worry, I don't think there's nothing dirty in there. Okay, sorry about that. All right, let's see. Let me show you something, right? Let's go back. No. Where's my little Bible stuff at? Hold on. Oh, okay. So let me show you something real quick, right? All right, that's Martin Luther, Protestant Reform, Pope Alexander VI. Okay, right? Now, this is Pope Alexander VI. This is the uncle to Cesare Borgia, the one that was created to create the image of Jesus. Okay? Now, this is a Roman Catholic priest, right? Where is it at? Book of Numbers. King James, right? This is the guy that's supposed to be in charge of the Bible, right? 1603 to 1625. Now, let me ask you something, right? All right. This is King James, right? Now, I want to show you something. Of the doctrines of the ancient church before the East-West, literally universally accepted from Catholic, from the Church Latin, the universal general. Okay, has nothing to do with religion, right? The whole in general, right? Because it's trying to be inclusive of all things, right? But the Catholic thing didn't work. That's why they created Christianity. Now, where is... Let's see... These are the wars that were created. The Saxon State University Library. This is your boy Jesus, right here. For all of you Jesus lovers. Notice him on the left side? Yeah, he's also Mona Lisa. That's him on the right side. That's your Jesus. Okay, just so you know. Just so that we're clear. Now, hold on a second. Because I think I'm right in the right section. Now, first off, to call yourself a Christian... Right? The prevalent version of the old version is Creston, right? The old version of Creston comes from Cretan, which is somebody that is short on iodine that has a deficiency resulting in the stunted growth of intellectual impairment. Idiots, okay? To call yourself a Christian means that you're calling yourself an idiot, just so that you understand this, okay? Now, that's not according to me. That's according to etymology of where the word Christian comes from. Okay? So, let's move along, shall we? Right? Je suis, in French, means I am. I am. Right? Bro, I'm not... Look, JD, once you get to the point of breaking down these things, you don't have to worry about that shit anymore. Okay, that's beginner stuff. I'm not trying to like insult you. I went through that whole spiel of, oh, good morning and grand rising and all that other shit. And then I realized that just by the fact that I was saying those things, I was conforming to them more than I had before. It's what your intent and what your belief behind the word is affects how the frequency is created, not the. So you got to be careful accepting those other versions that people give you. Bro, the Ethiopian Bible isn't Ethiopian. Okay? Now, where is it? Right? Notice how Cesare Borgia and the Codex Borgia, right? Notice how there's something going on there, right? All the books were found that came from Central America were found across the world, right? All of them. All of them came from America. All the places where all of your little claims of religion sprouting from all came from books that come from the Americas. They all come back to the codexes. Okay? When the word became flesh, my friend, you are the word that came flesh. You started off as a spirit, and now you're in the flesh, aren't you? Weren't you born again? You were already born again physically because you went from your father to your mother. Right? And then she birthed you into this living world, right? So that was the first time that you were born again. Then you're supposed to be born again at the age of 17 when you're supposed to register your minor estate so that you can be seen as a what? As a subject of the creator rather than a subject of man, so that you can be under the creator's laws instead of under man's laws, right? Right? Because right now, you're not. Let me ask you something. If you're a Christian, what the fuck are you doing listening to the government? Why are you going to church? Didn't Jesus flip over the churches for trying to turn it into a monetary gain? Don't you have to pay a 10% tithing to participate in your church? No, because the word of God is not to be sold. It's meant to be told, right? So your preachers aren't supposed to be charging you 10% to attend a church. That's paying for them. They should have their own jobs. Right? Okay, right? So, why did this happen, right? Because the Pope, according to the Secret Treaty of Verona, the Pope is the one right here in the third article, right? Convinced that the principles of religion contribute most powerfully to keep nations in a state of passive obedience, which they owe to their princes, right? Once again, we're back to princes. What are princes? Principles, the sons, okay? The high contrasting parties declared to be their intention to sustain in their respective states those measures which the clergy may adopt. The clergy, your churches, your preachers, your pastors, the sermons that they give you, right? All come from the Roman church. This is why all churches offer you a baptism, because it's all coming from the same system, right? Now, the states, those measures which the clergy may adopt with the aim of ameliorating their own interests, intimately connected with the preservation of the authority of the princes and the contracting powers, joined in offering their thanks to the Pope. Offering their thanks to the Pope for what he has already done for them, and solicit his constant cooperation in their views of submitting the nations. Now let me ask you something to my Christian friends. Realize that when the Pope sent over Spain, when the Pope sent over France, when the Pope sent over Europe, when he sent over that whole side of the world, everybody on that side of the world was Catholic. Where the fuck did Christianity come from? Huh? Huh? See, but the part that most don't even know is, who was the first pope? Who started the popes? Huh? You know who started the job position of the pope? Do you know? Oh, let me do it like this. Who was the first pope? Right? Who was the first pope? You should probably look into this, right? Saint Peter. Right? Saint Peter was the first pope, right? Let me show you something you don't know about Saint Peter that you probably don't know. Ready for this? Was Saint Peter Jewish? Yes, St. Peter was Jewish. He was born in Bethsaida, a Jewish town near the Sea of Galilee, and was initially named Simon, the son of Jonah. He was a fisherman and became one of the first apostles of Jesus. He is also known as Simon Peter. You don't have anything to do with Catholics today. Why are you in church on Sunday? If you don't have anything to do with Catholicism, why are you even in church? Huh? Let me ask you something, right? Because this guy's fake. He doesn't exist. The whole entire thing was made up. Peter, what's your Peter? Your Peter's the thing that... What is your Peter? The Peter of Jesus. Don't you hear about a sacred secretion? Wasn't your boy Jesus Jewish as well? Huh? Y'all forget that part. Y'all like to leave that shit out. You never once... You show me in the Bible. Hey, look, let me show you something, right? Why do you think they gave you a Jewish chosen one? Y'all just be buying into everything. Look, let me ask you something, right? What the hell is taking this thing? It's freezing up. Let me ask you one question. I'll wait for you to give me the Bible verse. Huh? Answer me that question. When did Jesus renounce his Judaism and tell you he was Christian? I'll wait. Go ahead and find me your Bible verse. Well, of course he didn't say he was Christian, because Christian didn't exist. Creston did. Cretan did. At the time that he existed, Creston and Cretan existed. Even though, you know, right? Creston and Cretan existed. Those things existed, but you never heard Jesus claim to be Christian, Creston, or Cretan. The reason behind that is because this is an idiot. Right? That's what these mean, is idiot. That's what all this means. Okay, that's the iron deficiency, right? And the lack of mental growth. So when did you ever hear Jesus say something bad about Jesus? Never. When did you hear Jesus claim to be an idiot? Never. When did you hear Jesus tell you that he was deficient on his mind? Never. Never. I don't find none of them scriptures. I don't find none of them scriptures. Right? So don't come in here speaking to me about Jesus, because you don't even know what Jesus is, and you don't even know what a Christian is for you to be speaking. You're sitting here trying to tell me about a book that was written years upon years ago with an understanding of it from current day language, and trying to explain it to me from current day language when current day language isn't what the fuck it was written in. And current day language is basically the opposite of what all the words used to mean. So you're sitting here trying to explain things to me from a stand. You're the blind leading the blind. My friend, trust and believe that I know this book better than you do. And I've used this book for the things that it was created for, and I've shown people how to use things, how to help themselves with the things that are in these books. Because there's very real teachings. There's very real things that they come from. Okay? And the thing is that there's so many people. See, the reason that a lot of you are going to have a problem with this is because you're new spirits. Y'all are new spirits. You don't have this old knowledge within your genetics. You're not a part of this old stuff. That's why you don't know about it, right? So you're going to fall for the new stuff that they came out with, because that new stuff, yeah, defiled spirits, exactly. You guys are being corrupted, and you don't even realize it. This is all encoded in your heart. Depending on whether you're a new spirit or an old spirit. I've met new spirits. You see a lot of them walking around these days. They seem dumb as shit. They're just numb to the world, and they just go around. They're what you call NPCs. These are new spirits. They don't know. They just go by whatever the narrative is today and think that that's the way that things are supposed to be. But there's a lot of us that have been a part of this shit. Right? There's a lot of us that have things that are stored within the scrolls that are within us. The heart, right? The heart is the thing that siphons all of the information of the universe. You understand? It comes through the brain first, right? That's why it hits the tree. It comes through the brain first. Then it's put into the waters, and then those waters are then regurgitated by the brain, and that becomes the foundation for how you operate. Man, your blood holds a lot more than a terabyte of, yeah, okay, all right, there you go with the per gram, okay. I was gonna say, man, that's a limitation I can't accept, right? Now look, right, so the thing is that, there's some of us that are connected to these old waters, and then there's some of us that are brand new. There are certain things that people that have been in this cycle for many minds and many times have within them that will clarify all of these things for you. All right, I've shown you the helical heart. I've shown you how your heart, when you cut the mitochondrial bands, your heart unravels into a scroll. It's a vortex. Okay? Your heart isn't it's shaped like this, right? But it's wrapped over many times. When the heart is open, it unravels, opens up flat and unravels when you cut all the tendons. That's the scroll of God. It's your heart. Your heart is the thing that preserves you. It's the thing that sends you information to forgive. It's the thing that gives you the ability to have empathy for others. It's the things that make it so that you feel others' pain. You can literally feel the pain of others. If you walk into a room where somebody is fucking broken and breaking themselves down, you automatically start to feel that because your mind acknowledges it first, and then it goes through to the heart, and the heart reflects it. And that's your polarity. That's you experiencing their energy. Everything about life is the flow of energy. And you would know this if you knew how to read your Bible. Because you would be referencing your Bible back to the sources that it came from so that you would be able to understand it. Understand it, overstand it, however you want to word it. Right? But the thing is that most of you look at the things that the Bible came from as demonic. Right? Most of you think that the things that the Bible comes from are demonic. Because you don't understand it. How are you going to be wall kings in spirit if you don't listen to the wall kings that tell you things, right? Why do you think that it is that it's all about the birds and the animals? Everything that you know now comes from these works. Right? Like the story when Cain brought the offerings. Right? Why you think in the Bible, in the wisdom of soul of man, it tells you that wisdom was with the Father and only she knows his works. Why? You know why? Because wisdom is the application of knowledge. That's feminine. Women control the information. They control the flow of the energies. Their body regulates it. Right? You never want to war the ship. You don't want to war the ship. You don't want to go against the vessel of God. Right? What you think is God is the dog. The word is the dog. The word of the Creator. That's why it's G-O-D. D-O-G is where they got it from. The word that cleanses man. That's this. That's the tongue. The dog is the word. Okay? That's why he sits at the scales of life and death. All right. Well, I gave you the chance, Darwin the money. I gave you a chance, bro. Doot doot. Talking about pray for clarity. My Creator speaks to me every day. I don't need to pray. We have conversations. I get specific instructions and directions and things to awaken people. Like I don't know what you think, but you're not gonna pray on me. Holding the black sun? Where? What are you talking about? You talking about holding the black sun? Where you see it at? Right? Why do you think you see this, yo? They think that this is a god. Right? They think that this is a god. Right? They think that that's a god, right? Let me show you something. You sure it's a God? You sure that that's a God? You sure about that? So why would you see this sitting here? I want you to think about this for a minute. You see this, right? And then he shows you a little man that sits right here. Right? Let me go back to that image for you real quick. Hold on. Wait. I want you to see this, right? Check this out. Go back to these ancient remnants. All right, now look at this image. Now, I want you to notice, right? You see this down here? Watch. Matter of fact, here, let's do it like this. Like this. And then put it in Procreate. Watch, let me show you. Okay, right? Now you see this guy sitting right here, right? Now look, what's it at the bottom? Look at the bottom, look. You see the energy, you see the mind. You see the cerebellum, which is the thing that controls the emotional response, right? Now the cerebellum bears witness to whatever the energy is that's received by the mind, right? Now that energy becomes the foundation, right? You see how the cerebellum has the two lines under it? Why? Because you have two flows that come down from the cerebellum. You have the left and the right side, right? Now over here, you see how you have the ankh, right? You have the ankh inside of a chamber, right? So that's your vertebrae and is going up to the brain, okay? Now over here, you see how you have this belly? Hold on, matter of fact, I forgot I can actually write on this. Hold on. Let's go like this, right? Okay, so look, right? Now, you see this right here? That's that, okay? This is your spine, your clavicle, and your abdomen, okay? Now, if you notice, there's two flags here, right? Right? Flags are what? That's your blade, that's your shoulder, the thing that carries. Right? So it's being carried through the vertebrae, right? Because that's your ankh. Right? Now notice, right? Notice how this one has the abdomen, but it goes up and it's got two levels to it. Right? Okay? So that's the area where the heart is at. All right? Now that's being controlled once again by your cerebellum, the base of the brain. That's this thing, okay? Right. See the two lines? All right, now that's creating a new one. All right, you have your cerebellum, and then you have the open, the mouth, okay? So this is the mouth or the eye. It's both, okay? It's the eye without the iris or the mouth, which is what? It's receiving. That's why it's not full. It's receiving, it's creating, it's controlling, it's changing, okay? So that's what you have down here at the bottom of it, right? Now, let's add some pictures in. I'm going to show you some stuff. We're going to go to anatomy. People like to argue but have no stance to stand on when they argue with me. Let me show you something real quick. All right. Now, all right, let's see if we can get both. Let's see if we can get both in one picture, even though they're separate fucking... Okay. All right, we'll just take this one first. All right, so this is your circle of Willis. Bloop, bloop. You understand? Where's your circle of Willis sit? Right next to your cerebellum. It's right above the cerebellum. What do you see here? Notice the ridges? Right? Now look. Notice how the ridges make a pyramid in the middle? Okay? Right here, next to your cerebellum, is the pyramid. It's known as your pyramid. Oh, that's too small. Matter of fact, here, let me just get you the medical diagram so that you can't sit here and try to say that I'm making shit up. Hold on a second. Okay, so look. I want you to notice something, right? What do you see right here? What do you see sitting above the circle of Willis? Let me show you. Let me show you so that you can actually see it. You see this nose right here? You see this face that it makes? You see the eyes that it creates? Right? Oh, and look at that. There's horns. Beep. Isn't that fucking this right here? Isn't that this right here? Isn't that the exact thing that you're looking at? Yeah, Sav. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Hey, what's up, motherfucker? Hey. What's going on? Yeah, they took that account a while ago. This is this. This section right here is this. The face is right there on it. Look. Let me show you what I mean. If we just make it a little bit bigger. Sorry, I didn't mean to send out an invite, my bad. Right, but they want to sit there and try to convince you that this is a god and this is a pharaoh. No, it's not Baal from Moloch. Moloch and Baal came from these things. They were changing things. They were adapting off of this. Baal and Moloch and all that shit, that's their misinterpretation of this because of the public information that was given. The Rosetta Stone doesn't tell you what these things really mean. The Rosetta Stone gives you somebody's fucking interpretation that created a fucking language out of it that only leads you to a specific stories. That's all the Rosetta Stone does. That's public knowledge. Public knowledge has nothing to do with what's in the private. In the private, inside the temple reflects the body reflects the temple, and everything you need to know about the body is in the temple. Right next to where the circle of Willis hits, if you notice. All right, if you notice, look at this. Shh, shh, shh. Oh, it absolutely does, City. It absolutely does. And it astounds me how many people will come in here and try to argue with me about things when you don't even realize that the whole entire alphabet that you have is all symbolism. Your Their whole alphabet is straight up symbolism that comes from this. If the Bible, hold on, let me see that again. If the Bible represents the body, what would the Satanic Bible represent? It's the same thing. It's a mirroring of it. Bro, why do you think, let me show you something, right? Why do you think when they tell you that if you believe in this, that you have to believe in yourself, that you believe that motherfucking, that you're God in the flesh, right? They tell you that for this, but they don't tell you that for this, right? But it's literally the same exact thing, right? But this is the thing, right? Is why do they tell you that in order to believe in this, these people worship themselves? You want to know why? It's because the people that believe in this and think that they think this, they don't have a fucking clue what they're believing in. Look, it's the same shit that I was just showing you. That's the thing. That's the fucking funny part about it. Why do you think in Christianity they teach you that you have free will, and in Satanism they teach you to do as thou wilt? It's literally the same thing. It's literally the same thing. But look, let me show you why it is that Satan, Baal worshipers and all that believe in themselves. Look, let me show you something, bro. It is you. It is you. They think that it gives them some type of power. They're just as lost as all the people that believe in Christianity. They're all still believing in gods and demons and things, not realizing that they're the extension of the Creator themselves. It's literally the same shit over and over again. Is there a hell? Yeah, you live in hell. The meek will inherit the earth. Hell is the exchequer chamber for the debtors to the king. You were born being told that you were in debt, right? And who's the one that runs the corporation? You guys don't realize they're talking about real life shit in that book. No, hell's not the heel. Hell is the land that you live in. Right now, you're in hell. You know why? You're in Davy Jones' locker, as a matter of fact. Let me explain it to you. Because you're in Atlantis right now, right? You're in Atlantis. You're in Atlantis. Okay? But the thing is that you don't recognize it because Atlantis is flooded. It's under Admiralty jurisdiction. The world got flooded, right? The world was flooded over. Why was the world flooded over? The world got flooded over when the Pope found out that there was the waters above, which automatically put the world under Admiralty. So you have to become Moses so that you can have common law, right? That's your first step, is trusting in the Creator to become Moses. Then you get common law, right? See, the thing is Atlantis is underwater right now. Atlantis has been flooded, okay? And it was flooded with Admiralty jurisdiction. The stories in the Bible are the stories about the conquering of America. I just want you to realize that. That's what it's actually talking about. America is Atlantis. Atlantis is under water right now. It's under Admiralty jurisdiction. Okay? Once the Pope found out that there was water above the earth, he then, I forget the name of the document, but he wrote a document that basically put everybody under the planet under his control, under Admiralty. Okay? That's why they tell you that there's waters above you. Okay, that's how they establish jurisdiction. Okay, so through the law of Moses, you get to part the seas. Right? You part the sea, and then you're given law of the land. Okay, that's what Moses represents. Okay? So, right now, since everybody's under admiralty jurisdiction, you're all in hell. Because although the Pope is the one that runs admiralty jurisdiction, you right now are in debt to the United States, which was founded by who? Britain. Or the king. So you're being told that you're born in debt to the king. You're born in debt to Great Britain for the United States, and the Great Britain is ran by the Pope. You get me? So, and the term hell, watch, let me show you some things that they took out of the Bible for these specific reasons. Hell, definition, debtor to the king. Pink. See, y'all think I don't have to make up shit. The original meaning of hell. The place of eternal punishment, and for the damn nigga to preside over Satan and the devils, right? That's your current meaning, right? But we go to the law dictionaries. And it's what? The name formerly given to a place under the exchequer chamber where the king's debtors were confined. It's prison for all the prisoners of war and all the subjects that owe money to the king. Aren't you in the United States of America? That was established by the British Royal Crown that they tell you that you're born in debt to? So aren't you in hell by definition? Huh? You didn't realize they was talking about now in current day times? Now you understand why they say the devil rules the earth. Now let me show you something else. Let me show you what they took out of the Bible. Because you need to know it's a law book. Oh, hold on, we shall wrestle against the princes in high places. Boop. For we wrestle not against... For we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rules of darkness of this world, right? That's the KJV. Where is my Geneva version? GNV. Watch this. Watch how this changes, right? You're going to see the difference. For we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against the principalities and against the powers, against the worldly governors and the princes of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. Okay? You see the difference? You see how all of a sudden you've been given a book that tells you to follow the things that the whole book was telling you to be prepared for, to stay away from? The Bible is a slave book that teaches you to follow what they fucking tell you to instead of teaching you to go against it, which what it originally was created for. See, these are law books, and these laws are being altered and changed over time. I don't care what Trump likes. He's deporting fucking immigrants when he's an immigrant. He's the first generation son of an immigrant, and everybody's just like, oh yeah, you're an American, but they are, I don't give a fuck what he has to say, bro. He's fake as fuck. He's the people you're supposed to war against. You're not supposed to be conformed to man's law. That's what y'all don't fucking realize. That's what nobody that's Christian really takes the context of the book, that you're not supposed to answer to man's law. Man is unjust. Man is unforgiving. Man is cruel. Man has fucked up intentions. Man does whatever. The creator's the creator. You're not supposed to follow man's law. You're supposed to war against man's law because man's law goes against the creator. How the fuck you gonna tell me that how you gonna come in here speaking to me about religious things? I practice more of what you're supposed to than you practice, and you go and attend these things. I've gotten more out of this book to get my freedom intact and for me to be in contact with my creator and have the full extent of my creator behind me, and y'all can't even tell me shit that's useful from the book. Y'all can't give me one part of that book that's applicable, that's useful to you. But I can show you everything inside that book that'll lead you to your salvation, to your dominion over the land, air, and water, that'll put you above the law like you're supposed to be under God's law. I can show you that in the book, but you can't. But you've been to church. I haven't gone. I don't do the church stuff. My name is the Word of God, the Protector of God, and that's what was ordained as such for this character. And I know why. It aligns with all the history of all the different times that I've been here. I know what I'm doing. I don't worry about that. There's not one time that I've been here that I didn't change the world. And I say that confidently because I've been doing it, and I recognize it, and I recognize myself through history because I understand the frequencies and vibrations and how nature works. So it's easy to spot myself. And that sounds delusional and crazy to a lot of people that don't understand it, but it's not a complex thing. Your frequency creates a physical representation. The physical representation will always remain similar to your frequency. The thing that, look, think about it, right? The frequency that produces this black pen isn't going to produce this white pen. It's very simple stuff. The frequency that creates the shape of this fork is not going to create the shape of this pen, ever. These are frequencies. Frequencies create physical representations of matter. So when I tell you that I know all my frequencies, and I can see myself in history, it's because my frequency is very pure. I know it is because of the way that my body aligns with the magnetism. It's very close to the original frequency. I know this for a fact. You know how you know this for a fact? You see this right here? All right, right? You see this right here? What is the thing that everybody was amazed about by these things is that it's perfectly symmetrical. Right? It's perfectly symmetrical. That's what people recognized about the construction of these things, is that it's so meticulously perfect that everything falls in its exact place, all according to sacred geometry, which is the study of the mathematics that are produced by the things that are created in nature. You get me? Right? Do we understand that? If you understand that, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you understand that. Because I'm going to show you something. Okay, right? Now check this out, right? Now I tell you that I have one of the originals. I know because of the things that I've seen. But look, check this out. Right? Now I tell you that I have one of the originals. I know because of the things that I've seen. But look, check this out. Now, mind you, this is symmetrical with almost perfect symmetry. Now, I've had my nose broken, so it's slightly off. What do you see? If the amazing thing about this is that this is the closest thing to perfection that they could possibly fucking find as far as something that's a representation of being as close to source as possible. Because this is created out of straight up sacred geometry. Okay? I believe you, Trax. Hey, look, whether he learned his lesson or whether he had to stand up for himself makes no difference. Either way, he learned a lesson that day. Now, check this out. You see this here? Let me show you something else. Let me show you how deep this shit gets. This here is Alexander Helios. This is the son of Cleopatra, of the last dynasty. This is also your Statue of Liberty. Okay? Now hold on, wait. Hold on. Wait, let me show you something else. And we're going to get more specific now. Okay, because I've been here through all the different times. Look, let me show you something. Peep the game out. There's not a time in history that I haven't been here. Doesn't matter how far back you look. It doesn't matter how far back you look. Hold on, wait. Let me give you another one. Hold on, wait. Let's go even. Let's bring it a little more closer to current times. You know, one of everybody's favorites. Let's go back to one of everybody's favorites. Hold on. Let me show you something. That was not David. That was Alexander Helios, the son of Cleopatra Selene the Sixth. That was the son of Mark Antony and Cleopatra before she slept with Napoleon. The twin brother to Cleopatra Selene the Seventh, and the brother to Philadelphia. You know, the one that Philadelphia was named after, even though they wanted to sell you some bullshit on that shit. Now, hold on a second. Let me show you something. Let's bring it to something a little more current. You see Mr. Abe Lincoln, the real one? Right? Or maybe you want something a little bit further back in time that's current, but not as current. You know, one of your favorite warriors, right? Hold on, let me show you something. Where is it? It's right in here. See, once I learned these things, I just started accepting what I'm here to do. Because it becomes very clear, very quickly. Because there's nothing in my resonance that doesn't accomplish the same things. Guess who this is? You see this guy right here? Guess who this is? I'll give you a guess. It's one of your favorites. Now, while everybody thinks that I'm being prideful and shit, I just want you to realize that every single last one of these people that I have shown you has had to be sacrificed. Yeah, Washington was black. You know who this is? This is Leonidas. This is Leonidas. That's why I have Gladiator tattooed on my back, and it's been on there since I was a fucking kid. Like, I tattooed it on there. That was my first tattoo, was Gladiator. This is your boy Leonidas right here. You want to see the other ones? Oh, look, here, let me give you the other one. My purpose that goes with my frequency has been blatantly obvious all throughout history. There is no straying from this. I've been doing nothing but tearing this system apart since I was a little kid. They literally got aggravated with me because all I did was find their loopholes and fucking tell people that everything was being done wrong and all this other shit. I built an entire underwater motherfucking what do you call it? I built the blueprints for an entire underwater city by the time that I was like 7 or 8 years old. You guys don't understand that this shit didn't start with fucking TikTok. The shit that I'm doing did not start with fucking TikTok, bro. I'm not one of these new people on here that just popped up on here trying to regurgitate shit. Everything that I've told y'all have seen the evidence present itself after I told you about it. And it's just been coming out in floods and floods and floods and floods. And there's mad people that are just out here regurgitating all the shit that I put out. Meanwhile, talking bad about me when they learned it from me. That shit be cracking me up the most. Yo. How you gonna learn from me and then turn around and try to talk bad about me after I introduce you to people and get you a following so that people hear you because I like some of the stuff that you do? Like, hey, look, don't make the mistake of just going and following somebody because I talk to them. Just because I talk to somebody does not make them a credible source. It just means that I understand that there's something that can be taken from anybody. And so I give people the ability to reveal things to me that they reveal. And trust and believe is not what they say that reveals things to me, is what they don't say, what they avoid, and what they try to keep away from. That tells you more about something. That tells you more about somebody than anything else that you're ever going to need to know. You like my fat version? Bro. You like my fat version? I told you I've been here all through time. There's not a time period that you're not going to find a version of me that wasn't responsible for reshaping the entire way that the fucking shit was going for everybody. It's just been that way. It's just something I've came to terms with. Because when you understand, look, if you deny these things, you're never going to be able to grow yourself. You'll never be able to grow yourself. You're never going to receive your downloads. You're never going to receive your information. You have to accept you. And you can't accept you until you stop denying who you were. These stone carvings were carved with precision to resemble the exact fucking... It's either to resemble who they came from or to tell you who's coming. These statues that are created out of perfect sacred geometry. Do I think Christ existed as a man? I think many men have been Christs. You can't be man without being Christ. It's just whether you accept it or not that entails the type of behaviors and the things that you elicit for yourself and the ones that are around you. You say get the picture of David by Michelangelo? I'll look into it. I'll look into it, but I haven't looked at that one. It's all frequency and vibration. You understand? Every one of these faces looks exactly like mine, just a different variation of it. Why? Because each time that you come back here, you collect different energies. And that alters your fucking next journey just a little bit. Oh, my day's amazing. I hope yours is too. Mine's always amazing, man. I love this shit. You understand? So, I share with you the things that are within me. I don't share with you things. I don't have to go on, if you... Look, this is the thing, right? Is I tell you a whole bunch of shit, but the only reason that you see me going to Google and stuff like that is because most people require you to show them and have a hard time taking it directly from you. But yet, at the same time, they'll follow. There's a whole entire world full of people that just follow the words of these other people that went through times and things that they can't explain today and wouldn't accept people telling them today, but accept it from old writings. And yes, I know coffee's not the best for you, but when I'm done with my coffee, I'm going to be smashing a bunch of watermelon for the rest of the day. I regulate my shit. That's what it's about. Regulation. You're supposed to have abundance. You know, just too much of anything can be a bad thing. Hey, I'm telling you, Devon, look, man. Look, my whole entire time on TikTok, and anybody that's on here right now that's been on the many other profiles that I've brought forward will tell you that I always tell you about something first, and then all of a sudden you'll just have all the information just start presenting itself to you. There's just things that I accept, and the thing is that most of you have the same information that I do, but y'all silence yourselves. Y'all silence yourselves. You guys hear things from yourself, and then you tell yourself, "No, that can't be real. This and that." You deny yourself too much. Allow yourself to start trusting yourself. Nothing is going to take care of you more than you internally. You internally doesn't lead you to bad shit. You override your intuitions and your internal fucking self, your higher self. You override it all the time. You ignore it. You deny it. And y'all wonder, like, there ain't nothing that I'm doing that's special. Most of you been here. Let me explain something to you. The whole reason that you're here talking to me right now is because I draw in the other people that have been here from the old days. It's been that way my whole entire life. You're only here because you're one of us. There's old spirits and then there's new spirits. The problem is that most of y'all don't know that you're old spirits. And because you don't know that you're old spirits, you're not doing your job as an old spirit and aligning the new spirits. You're allowing those new spirits to be affected by corrupted spirits. You see, there's a balance of things. Okay? Can I erase clouds with my mind? Well, you know, see, this is resonance bullshit. Like, let me explain something to you, right? There was a time in my life, right, when I was still on the rocks of understanding this creator stuff, right? And I was riding on a bus going to St. Louis. And as I was riding on the bus going to St. Louis, right, there was this chick that was on the bus. She was chilling with me. She ended up falling asleep on me and shit and fucking watching movies with me and shit. And this guy that was sitting in front of us was like, "Dude, what's up with you? Where are you and your girlfriend going?" I was like, "That's not my girlfriend." I was like, "I just met her on the bus today." He's like, "What? Really?" He's like, "I could never do that. I could never talk to people like that." And da 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 da. Meanwhile, he's talking to me. So, funny thing is that, you know, me and him started having conversations. He told me that he was traveling and that he was traveling off of his trust fund and that he was just going around the country exploring the different parts of the country and shit like that. But he was very intrigued by the fact that I was so open and able to bring people comfort and have them fucking come and talk to me and approach me and speak to me and things. And the thing is that, so long story short, right? At a certain part, she had fell asleep. And me and him were just having a conversation. We had this whole conversation about God, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, like all this other shit, right? And he goes, "Look, I want to show you something." Because you know, I was talking about how I kept having Freemasons approach me to try to get me to join Freemasonry, right? And I don't even remember how that all came about in the conversation, but it did. And then he was trying to convince me that God didn't exist. It was this dude in a suit. And there was a Freemason that was on the bus with us. He looked like your stereotypical California gang member. You know, just sleeve tattoos head to toe, blonde cornrows, very intelligent man, very polite, very, very kind, very, you know, respectful, right? And so the three of us were just sitting there having this conversation for a little bit. And when we were done having the conversation, you know, he had got up and moved to the other part of the bus. And me and the other guy ended up having, you know, we kept on talking. Well, the guy turns to me and he goes, "Hey, look, Like, we had finished having our conversation. He goes, hey, look, I want to show you something. I was like, okay. He goes, look out the window. All right. So I look out the window, and he goes, all right, you see that cloud right there? I was like, yeah. He goes, all right, now check this out. And he puts 2 fingers here, 2 fingers on the fucking window, and just goes like this. And as he's going like this, I'm sitting there watching the fucking clouds just dissipate out of the sky. I'm like, oh. I was like, oh, yo, that shit scared the fuck out of me. That was the end of our conversation. I ain't speak to him for the rest. He got off at the next stop, and that was it. We were done. We were like, that was my first first-hand witness to some freaky shit. That was the first one that I've ever seen. But to answer your question, not the way that you think. The way that old boy did it, that whole 2 fingers on here and wiping that shit out. It doesn't work like that for me. But I can walk outside, see a bunch of clouds, and decide that I want the day to be clear. Give it about 10 minutes, walk back outside, and the sky will be clear. I can tell you when it's going to rain before it's going to rain. I can actually smell it, to be honest with you. My old boss used to be fucking crazy impressed by this shit. I was like, dude, I'm part Indian. It makes perfect sense. No, I'm just really in tune with nature at all times, right? Because I'd know when it was going to rain within a half hour to 45 minutes before it was going to rain, because I could smell it or feel it. I would smell it and feel it. It would be like a cold chill would hit me, and the smell of water. I don't know how else to explain it, but like, I'm pretty sure everybody can do it. You just got to cleanse your system a little bit. But the thing is like, if you want to know what time it was, we had this ongoing joke. I can call him up right now to verify this shit. I can call him up right now because he loves me to death. And, like, Bob will just turn to me and he'll be like, Jay, what time is it, Jay? And I'll be like, huh? I'll just look up at the sun. And I go, oh, it's this time. It'll be within 15 minutes. It'll be within 10 to 15 minutes of whatever time that I say it is, just by looking up at the sun automatically. Okay? Like, there's just little things that, I find that I just know inherently. I don't know how else to say it. I just know it inherently. Plus, you got to realize I did construction my whole life. From the age of 17, I've been working outside. That means that my hands have been touching the ground constantly, which means that I was grounded constantly. That also means that I've been in the sunlight the whole entire time. That also means that I've only eaten once a day for that entire duration. Like the last 20 years, I pretty much ate 1 time a day because I didn't eat before I'd go to work, and I'd only eat 1 time when I got home after that. You get me? So I've been fasting since I was a teenager. I've been out in the sun since I was a teenager. I've been grounding myself since I was a teenager. So there's been things that I've been doing and things that I've been like just doing naturally. I did construction because I like to build stuff and I want to be able to build fucking masonry, and that's what I ended up in, was fucking masonry. Like, everything that I do always falls back to this stuff. I was in martial arts. Right? Tai Chi, Kung Fu, Chin Na, Bagua Zhang, boxing, wrestling, everything that I am now all came from back there. If I wanted, I don't know. I've never tried. I've never wanted there to be clouds. I always wanted to be cloudy. You get what I'm saying? Y'all gotta be careful, man. A lot of these people that are on here giving y'all information, they're just giving you narrative and don't even realize it. The reason they don't realize they're giving you narrative is because they're falling for it. You don't remember? Hey, look. Hey, let me ask you something. Do you know? Do you know your significant other's phone number? Watch this. Do you know your parents' phone number? Do you know your parents' phone number by heart? Do you know your grandparents' phone number by heart? Do you know your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your friends? Do you know everybody's number by heart? Y'all be saying yeah, but y'all be lying. Y'all say yeah, but y'all lie. Y'all lying y'all fucking ass off. If I put you in jail right now, you would not be you would have to ask permission to go through your phone to write everything down. Y'all stop remembering that shit. I stopped remembering that shit too. I'm guilty of the same exact thing. You know why? Because the phone's keeping it. Stay off these fucking devices and stay away from people that revert you back to things that they found on these devices rather than things that are in their head and in their hearts. Because they're giving you the intelligence that's being given to everybody else. That's all the public access bullshit. They can't think for themselves. Everybody's worried that AI is going to take over law. AI already did. It already did. Everybody that I used to study law with is now making AI fucking put all their paperwork together. It's only going to be about a year or so before they forget all their information. Notice how when you come and you see me, I bring you symbolism. I bring you hieroglyphs. I bring you ancient wisdom that you can't find anywhere else. That's what I focus on. Why? Because that's the only thing that I can bring you that isn't going to drain you like everything else is doing. And it'll fix you. It'll fix you mentally, spiritually, and it'll cleanse you. It's the source of all of these things. You know, one purpose. Y'all forget. Like, you know, I just stick to my purpose. And as long as I stick to my purpose, the things that I want are provided for me to make it as fun as possible for me as it could possibly get. But y'all forget. Bloop. What was the purpose? What was the story they gave you? Did they tell you that they spoke Tutnese in America? That the language that they fucking created in order to hide their fucking language for the slave masters and shit? Is that what it was called? Which was a form of Hebrews type shit, right? Oh. I want you to think about this for a minute. What have I done besides tried to restore the old ways since you found me? Yeah, Liz, Tutnese. It's the language that all the so-called slaves created so that they could have their own language. Supposedly, but it was actually Hebrew. But I just want you to think about something, right? What up, Liz? I'm glad you found me again, too. I don't be knowing whether it be the people I think it is until they let me know that they found me. There's so many people out here with the same names on this thing. Nah, we spoke what you think is legalese. What you think is legalese is what we spoke. You speak the slave language that they created out of it. Nah, your TikTok didn't unfollow me. They fucking... You were on different accounts. I've had to create 5 different accounts in the last 4 months. Because they took my big one that had the 140 people, the 140,000 on it. They took that. And then within the same week that they took that one from me, they took my backup account that had another 12,000 on it. And so I created 2 new accounts. And then within 2 months of having those accounts also got taken because I found a video that had like 20 something different lawyers from Missouri. You can go look this case up for yourself, right? There was like 20 lawyers in Missouri that had been having a private Zoom session about trafficking the children. It was a pretty in-depth, disgusting conversation. And because I put that on TikTok, they took those accounts when I put that out. And then I took the other account got lost because I found the video that explained in detail and how you can go and look it up for yourself as to how they were putting human meat in all the meat products and pretty much all of your food as well. Like all the food and artificial flavoring is like from human livers or something like that, or some crazy shit. It was some wild shit, right? And that went viral, so that account got taken. Like, all right, so I'm like 5 accounts past the other account now. I think I'm now up to like account 18, I think. Nah. None of my accounts gave you a tarot reading. It was that's a spam message that you get from these scammers. It wasn't my account that did that to you. It was somebody that has an account that's like mine. Bro, I've had almost 2 million people follow me since I've been on TikTok. Like I've had over the 4 years that I've been on here, I've had a collected 2 million followers between the 18 accounts that I've been up on. So you're gonna find that there's right now, I think I got rid of about 10 scam accounts about 5 or 6 months ago. I got rid of about 10 of them. Right now there's I think there's about 6 total that are still up and operating. Some of them even got a nice amount of following off of my stuff too. Do I have numbers and repeated in my life? Hey, check this out. Talk about numbers. Look at this. I had to grab this yesterday. Look at that. Okay. Was this the one or was this? Nah, this is my old profile. Hold on, that's the wrong picture. See, I told you. Look, I don't be lying to y'all about shit. Look how many followers I had. This is the profile that they just took from me. Probably like 3 months ago, something like that. Like 3 months ago. Oh, I know somebody that'll do all the filing for you. You just got to give her your information and she'll do it, but she's going to want like $300 to do it. Right. See, that's why I just offer people the library for $75, because then you have all of the papers that they have and you can file them your fucking self, and you can also learn stuff that they're not going to have the time to teach you, that I'm not going to have the time to teach you. You get me? But yeah, see, so I've had two accounts that had over 140,000 just by themselves, and then I've had like fucking damn near like 10 or 12 accounts that have been over 40,000 or 50,000 people on them. So, you know, they be trying to keep me silent, but they can't stop me. They can't stop my reality. They can't stop my control. I follow my path, and my path is very strong. It has a purpose. Like, so I allow it to lead me in the direction that I need to go to accomplish that purpose. And that purpose is removing this bullshit so that you don't see the world like this anymore. Bringing you back to nature and getting everybody back to the point to where they love things and understand the fucking life and really appreciate it. Most of y'all can't even enjoy your day half the time. Where else could we follow? YouTube and Instagram. My Instagram account, now that I've been making myself put more videos on it, is growing super fast. Like, my Instagram account has gone up like 15,000 people in the last like month or two. So I'm gonna keep pumping shit into that, because that's the one where I can say, like, there's a lot of videos that I record on here that I don't post on here. I'll just download it after I record it, because I like how the setup is done, and I'll just download it and record it and shoot it over to my Instagram account, because I know that I couldn't put it on here now. Look, see, we're at 144. As soon as I said it, we go down one. Motherfuckers! Look, y'all be talking about numbers and stuff. That's not what I was looking. That's not the number thing that I was looking for. Hold on, let me. Oh yeah, I forgot Taboo Kennels on Facebook. I forgot I connected to Facebook to it, but I don't really check on that too often. Why is it the same one? That's not what I'm looking for. Where's the picture from the other day? Is this it? Nah, that was just when I was showing somebody something. I thought I got a picture of it, but I didn't. But the numbers were all like, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of fucking 369 shit going on there. So I just snapped a photo of it one time. But, you know what that, hey, Let me show you something. Hey, look, because y'all be lost over this angel number bullshit. You want to know what the secret to angel numbers is? You want to know what it is? Let me show you something real quick. Peep the game out. People claim these are angel numbers, okay? All right, so why do you think people think that these are angel numbers? Let me show y'all something. The nonsense that they be teaching people. Oh, it's a synchronicity. It's an angel number. I appreciate that, Dita. Appreciate that. All right, look, check this out. 3, 6, 9, 4, 8, 12. 1 and 2, 3, 6, because 5 and 3 is 15, right? Keys to universe. All your fucking angel numbers are 369. So let me ask you something, right? Because this is a psychological programming that you've been given, and I'm going to help you think about this so that maybe you can undo this for yourself so that you can start to enjoy this properly. Instead of pumping out energy, oh, I see three ones, and that's okay. Instead of being, oh, it's 111, it's 222, it's 333, it's 444, it's 555, it's 666. Why don't you just get excited every time you see a 3, a 6, or a 9? Why don't you just get excited anytime that you see these? I never understood that. Everybody gets excited over shit like this. Look, right? They'll be like, oh, it's 105. Oh, it's 243, right? Oh, these are frequencies, and these are 6, 9, 3. Why is it? What I don't understand, right, is once again, right, everybody's still excited about Jesus. Everybody's excited about the product. Nobody's ever excited about the source. Look, let me explain something to you. Every time you see 3, that's a thought. That's something being created. Every time you see 6, there's an action taking place. Every time you see 9, something just got completed. You should get excited as fuck when you see any of these numbers start popping up in your stuff. That's when you should get excited. Fuck all this specific variations of it. Why the fuck? does everybody get more excited about everything except for the source? If you started getting excited when you thought of the 3, or you saw a 6, or you saw a 9, you know how fucking excited you would be all day? How many 3s do you see in a day? Oh, wait. Let me do it like this. Let me just do it like this so you can really see it. All right, there's a separate one, right? How many 3s do you really look at a day? You see 3s on top of 3s on top of 3s all over the fucking place. Imagine if you actually started realizing what you were looking at. Where they at? Hold on. All right. You got temperatures, which make up your colors. Which they tell you are part of your spiritual, right? Right? How many 3s do you see a day? Right? How many times does that 6 come up? Oh, look at that. You got the 6 and the 9 together. You never get excited over 3, 6, or 9. But let me tell you that 111 is going to mean something special when it's just 3, and you'll fucking lose your shit over 111. No, you don't see any ones. You know, like, there's a few ones right here. Look, I'll show you the ones that you see every day. All of your pillars, your flags, and your signs. Right? These are WUDs. The problem is you're not dealing with nature anymore. That's why they got you in a box. Right? Or a rectangle. Nature doesn't make square shapes. Nature doesn't create flat lines. Okay? Taking you to the square takes you out of the circle. Right? You're out of place. Nature does not produce squares. There's no thing in nature that produces perfect squares. Everything will be askew. It will be off slightly. You will get hexagons, octagons, pentagons. No square. Beehives aren't square, Sean. A beehive isn't square, sir. They look like this. They look like the heart. They're a vortex. It's not straight lines. It's not squares. Squares are not natural. Triangles aren't natural. The closest thing you find to a triangle in nature is a hill, and it won't be perfect. You can't split one of those octagons, pentagons, hexagons, hexagrams. You can't split those things and produce a straight line. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, we can flatten it and we can smack it in a way that might, if we get lucky, it'll chip it very close to flat, but it'll never be perfectly flat. That's a restriction. That's dead. You see, energy travels like this. All energy. There is none that avoids this. It's always fucking moving. This is not natural. This is nothing. Trees don't grow straight up. No, they don't. You're lying. First off, a tree comes out like this. All right? And this is never perfectly anything. It's always jagged. There is no perfectly straight tree. It might stand straight up, but there will be a vibration even if it is slight. Your bones aren't straight. See, the tree expands by the bark. Is the bark straight? No. Is it in a perfect circle? It's in the shape of a circle, but is it perfect? Absolutely not. There is no fucking, there is no straight. It's always going to be slightly. Straight is man-made. The closest to straight that you could get is like these type of shapes, the hexagrams and things, right? But it's you can't consider it straight because it bends. Now, you could argue, right? You could argue that these points in here are straight. Right? That could be your argument. That could be a fair argument, is that it produces something that is semi-straight, but that's only as long as it's curved. And you have to accept that. It can't be, so it literally still can't be straight because it's only straight because there's a curve added to it. So it's not, because it's not by itself. You can't find anything in nature that is just straight. There's nothing. Literally nothing. Everything has to have a curve to it. You know why? It's magnetism. Right? The closest thing that you're going to find to straight is the point where the two magnets meet. That's the closest thing that you can find to straight, where it's the two energies that are beating up against each other And at that very, very tiny little point right in the middle, there's a very small chance that you can have a straight surface. No, water can't look glass flat. You know why water doesn't look glass flat? Right? You put the water in there, and your argument is that the water lays flat in here, right? That's your argument, right? You're like, okay, that's your example of flat. What about this portion of the water down here that you're forgetting that's down here? Where is it flat? See, you can say that this is flat, but this isn't the whole thing of the water. It's the whole thing. All right, there you go. Everything vibrates. Right. So if everything is vibrating, that means everything is forever naturally. Yeah, but you can't claim the surface of water is flat. Because by saying that, you're also at the same time admitting that the rest of the water isn't. So you're canceling it out at the same time. Everything requires a curve, my friend. Look, go to the store and try to buy you a plank. Right? Try to buy you something that they cut with a machine that cuts things perfectly flat. And what you're going to find when you buy that is that there is what is known as the crown. Which would be the best side that it doesn't seem to bend to. And I forget what the name of the other side was, but there's a specific term for it. Like, you know, the people I work with were, you know, they didn't speak, well, they did speak good English, but like, you know, they tried to teach me Spanish, so I don't remember the word for it, but there's an English term for it. But there's two sides, and if I got 127. Nobody in here has done construction in their life. Come on, I don't have a carpenter in here. Crown and the cup. Okay. No, it's not the base. It's not the base. Because look, what you do, right, is you take the board and you put it at eye level, right? And when it's at eye level, you look at it to see which side has the dip. Okay? Because one side is going to have a curve and one is going to be more of a smooth surface. But this is standard practice whenever you're putting in, whenever you're building frames. Okay, we didn't need to talk, so, you know, like, we didn't really talk too much. Like we would joke and shit. We weren't talking about business, but, like, you know, so I got showed everything how to do, not getting specific terms and shit. Okay, so we have to look at the board. Okay, we look at the board to find which one is going to have that curve. There is no flat. Everything has curve. The argument that the earth is flat and or curved is fucking stupid, okay? The thing is it technically is flat. It's like that tree trunk, okay? It sits like this, all right? The thing is that you have the dumping out at the bottom portion, all right, which is why they say that this is a tree, because it represents the roots that are fucking bringing everything out, all right? Now, above that, you have where the branches and shit are at. Okay, that's why you have islands over here, island here, island here. Around that is where all the water's at. Okay, water's around everything. Okay, and in between everything. Okay. See, this is all magnetism. Right? And this is your brain as well. Literally. This is how this is your brain stem. Okay? Over here is where your cerebellum is. Like this. Now, if you realize the shape of the cerebellum goes in the shape of a vortex. Okay? That's because it follows the way the energy goes. And if you pay attention to the islands on the earth, you'll notice that they also follow that same vortex. That's why it's the same ones and they all go in a specific direction. Okay? It's because that's the energy that's pumping out. Okay? Because this is what's happening, right? Because you're in a bubble. It's not that the earth is round or flat. Nobody wants to look at just magnetism. Fuck all the other shit. I'm gonna teach this every fucking day until everybody realizes this. So everybody stops looking at shit all stupid. Because we've all been taught to be blind. Okay? Now, so this all pours down this way. Right? So because it pours down this way, this is the following of the energy. Okay? You get the energies inside of the bubble. Okay? So it goes like this. Damn, I should have. Hold on, wait. Let me just do something real quick. Okay. All right, there we go. Good enough. All right. Whatever. Leave it. All right. So anyway, right. Okay. So you have energy that bounds up like this. Okay. And then there's also going to be energy that's going to go like this way. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So it's going to be hitting like this, right? So this is where your islands come into play. All right, because it's the amount of energy that's getting regurgitated. All right, and the more you get towards the focal point, the North Pole, the focal point, north, okay? The more you get to north, the more it fills in, the more land there's going to be. Why? Because this is the focal point, right? So it's going to be freezing fucking cold at the focal point. The reason that it's going to be freezing cold at the focal point is because there's massive amounts of energy that's just getting fucking rammed together here. Okay? Because it goes like this. You understand? This is magnetism. Okay? Over here would be your positive. Over here is your negative. On the other side would be your negative. Okay? So, the spots where the energy jams up creates land masses. Are you starting to see the Mayan trees and things? Okay? Yeah, Sean, it is. It has to be all. The reason that it's like that is because there's too much energy over there to actually create land mass. It's freezing fucking cold because that's what happens when you're fusing things together super fast. It's hot cold. That's flash cold. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Okay? See, this is the vortex. All right, but this is the exit of it. Okay? See, the land is always going to keep growing more and more, right? And so will everything else with it. Okay? This is the thing. is, see, we're on the air side. Down here is the solid side. Okay? The thing that creates the water is there being enough energy from there being energy there, but not a mass joining point to where it actually creates enough energy to be physical. Okay? Because the others is being distributed. Okay? The thing is that you've got your forces, right? Okay. This one just stays around this way. And it's inside of it. I'm just showing you behind this shit. Okay. And then this one is going to follow this way. Right? Because they're different, right? This is the negative and the positives. All right, and they stay on a rotation. Okay? Because you have the energy of the positive and the energy of the negative. All right? This one never goes down. This one goes up and down. This one's the most high. It always stays high. It's always circulating around in a circle. Yeah, the sun and the moon. That's why this ice is so different up here. That's why the water underneath here is so different than the water that's up here. Because this is a denser water. Because it needs the air, the ether from this in order to fuel these. Right? And this takes it out so that there's not too much. See, this is a perfect marriage. And all it is magnetism. You can find this in anything. Look. That's how you know it's right, is because it literally shows you how all the things that you eat, right? That's your apple. Which, if we draw this line here as explained before, this is your brain. All right, that's your brain stem right there. And now you know why there's that shape. That looks like that little triangle right there where they call the pyramids, right? Now you know why that exists, right? And there's an exit hole that comes out of that for your brain stem, right? You got your two hemispheres of the brain, but inside of them you got Amun's horn, right? Which is inside of these little Aries-looking aqueducts that are created where the energy is being, you understand? No matter what you break it down to, all of it, your body, the structure of the world, the fucking, everything breaks down to this very simple fucking, and it's not gravity. There's no such thing as gravity. You're not there. It's not gravity. You're being pushed down. Okay? You're being pushed. We know this because of the beetles' wings. We know this because the bees that motherfucking fly by vibration. We know that it's not, that's incorrect. Because when you create your own resonance, you're able to avoid this thing that they claim is gravity. So that shouldn't be possible. From the concept that everything's being pulled down. That whole theory doesn't make sense. There's nothing in it that makes any sense. It's all magnetic fields. All of it. You can feel it. Duh, why you think, okay, look, right? Let me show you something. Let me tell you something. I like doing this. I'm not gonna lie, I like showing y'all this stuff. I like having a reason to draw and scribble and stuff. Okay? So, this is the thing. Well, you see how it's gray up here? That's typically what it really is. Okay? It's typically gray. Right? It's these that give you the illusion of color. Okay? You really see in the dark. There is no light, but that's the whole discussion of itself. But look, this is the thing, right? Let's check this out. We're gonna throw some of these guys in there. You know what these are? The fucking clouds! Yay! Okay, you get your clouds. And you know damn well these shits be behind the clouds and they also be in front of them. I don't know why motherfuckers be ignoring the fact that they see the sun in front of the clouds and behind the clouds damn near daily. They just ignore it. La-di-da. Oh, it's not really there. That's not happening. Everything's that's not real. Like you can see the shit happening. But look, anyway, look. It'd be cracking me up. I'll be laughing together. All right, so check this out, right? So yeah, that's why you produce lightning. Right? That's what the lightning is when these are coming together. Right? When this comes together, it creates energy. They're very, 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 very. It takes a whole lot of clouds before you see lightning. Lightning doesn't just come out of the fucking nowhere. Right? Oh yeah, your earth and the brain is exactly alike, my friend. It's because it's all you. Literally. Like, people don't want to really accept that. Like, it's kind of funny, but yeah, it is. It's really you. Oh, damn, I did everything on that one layer. Whatever. Fucking leave it then. Oh, shit. Turn that layer off, though. Alright, right. So, yeah, you're basically a product of magnetism. Look. Let me show you what I mean. You never... Wait, hold on. Wrong layer. New layer. There we go. Alright, now we're safe. Sorry about that. Let's go a different color. Okay, right. Isn't there a soft spot at the top of your skull? Right? There's a soft spot, right? Originally there was, right? That was before the energy got to your black hole sun. That's your heart. right? Think about it. You got your brain, your heart, and you know where it all comes out from. You even see the shape of it. All right, why do you think your hips are shaped that way? Little alien ass looking hips. You don't see that? Look. Look, for real. You don't look. Look, all right, I'm gonna show you some stuff. Hold on. Look. The land masses are the top of the hips. All right. Oh. Oh, right. And then you've got this section in here where the hole is at. Right. There's this section here that's known as the coccyx, right? That's that thing right there with the little holes in it, right? And then there's that big ass fucking... Alright. That's not your hips? With your nerve stems attached to it as well, huh? Alright. In fact, here, let's do this, right? So this is the top of the brain stem, known as the pons, right? Then it goes into what is known as the... Which one is it? Fucking, it's one of the four almonds. It's one word. It just didn't fit over there with the size of the fucking pen right now, okay? See, this is where your pyramid's at, right? It splits like this. There's an olive here, the olive here, okay? And top of the brain. And, oh, look. Remember how I was explaining to you that the cerebellum followed the vortex? Right here. Actually, here, let me do it like this. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. All right. See, it creates a perfect vortex. And that's the thing that controls the energy that is distributed after you witness things, right? The eyes. Right? You know, the left and the right. But see, once that receives it, right? Doesn't it go like this? And that go out like that? Right? And that's the ways that your eyes see, right? But those are different from this, okay? Those are on the outside of that, okay? Inside of this, right? Because this is your Aries, you know, your aqueduct, right? Which is in front of the corpus callosum, which is the serpent in the tree of knowledge, which sits right here. But strangely enough, right, it looks like there's a little man that's on there. Right. Well, there's a little dude being crucified. This is why it looks something like this. Okay, this is how it splits. All right, that's the serpent that's in the tree of knowledge, right? And Then you've got your Aries or your Amun, your Ram, right? And then you got Horus, right? Because this is where your eye comes from. Which is the thalamus, the pituitary, the basal ganglia. It's your endocrine system, okay? It's the parts of the system that go in there. Now, this all goes down to this thing that's called, right, because this goes down to your brainstem, right? But so the thing that sits on here looks like this, okay? And it's got these little squigglies. Okay, now that's your circle of Willis, which is the man that sits in the heavens, right? Which is also known as Baal, which is also known as God, which is also known as Satan, which is also known as Jesus, which is also known as... There's a lot of names that have been put on this organ, right? Okay? Because above that, like right below that, right? So, right, they tell you that what... Because like like you realize that I'm showing you all of this off of the diagram that I showed you that the land was created on. Now, I realize all of this follows the same electrical patterns. Okay? It's all magnetism. Literally, all magnetism. So what happens is your eye receives the magnetism, and then it goes in, comes down here to the cerebellum, which then sends it into these, through this, okay? It's going to go in here to be broken down and decided what to do. Then it's going to be sent to this guy, which is Horus, who takes it up and down. You know, he takes the instructions, okay? He takes the instructions down through the body, right? So your eyes receive it. They receive a negative and a positive version of it. It's explained and sent to the 12 disciples, you know, the ones down here. Starting at the very first vertebrae called the atlas. You know, the world. See, because up here you have the hemispheres. Right? So you have the hemispheres up here, which makes these gray things clouds. Which means that he's sitting on a throne in the clouds before descending down to the earth. Was talking about this, because this is the atlas, this is the world, this is the earth. See, below the, you know, the beginning of the 7 steps to heaven, all right, this is the 7, is these 7 vertebrae, okay, right, where Atlas is the dens for the second, right, which brings you down to the axis, which is the way the world tilts, right, which is the other 5, right? So when you're talking about the Father that sits on the throne that's descending down, that you're talking about the physical energy as being sent down through the sun. come to the what? Hey, let me do it like this so that you recognize it the same way. You understand? Well, it's alright. I'll be posting it on YouTube probably. But that's why you have the main, and then you have the two, and these go down to here, which is the scroll, right? Everything fits on this magnetism. Like, I can move this whole thing onto here and show you how it all comes together. Literally, your whole entire body, every single last bit of it is this. Well, James, that's what remains to be seen at this point. What up, Baton? You get me? That's what remains to be seen, because everything else is there. You get what I'm saying? Just because, look, this can't be theory. Okay? This isn't theory. This is how magnetism works. What do you need in every battery to keep it running? Water. Right? Some type of form of a liquid, right? Unless you have the what? The magnets. All of the things that they teach you about. Watch. Look, your torus field. It's magnetism. That's all it is. You're following one of the wave patterns. Notice how you now see your squash, your fucking watermelon, disfigured cucumber, motherfucking, like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things, right? Like, bro, like, magnetism explains everything. All right, all your natural things follow this. You follow this. There you go. There you go, peace. You see what I mean? All of these things follow this. You ever took apart the engines in a remote control car when you were a kid? This is it. These are the coils. It's all, yeah, the slot cars, yeah, exactly, yep. You look inside, you peek inside that little fucking square looking octagon shaped fucking thing, you see what? Roundness with coils in it. It's all the same shit. Brillo, you could tap into trees, Brillo. You could literally tap into a tree, bro. Run a cord in separate ones at a ground or something. I don't fucking know. Trees are grounded too. Like, I've seen people that plug into trees. There's electricity in everything. You could run a copper wire into the fucking sky, put a little bit of mercury on top of it, and run that to some coils, like run it into a bunch of little coils, and that will basically raise the amperage of it per coil, and then have that run to one cord to an electric box, and then take another cord and run it directly into the fucking ground with a copper wire. And I'm pretty sure that's all it'll take to get electricity. Well, Sean, if I'm wrong, then show me the right way. What the fuck? Because right now, from what I'm seeing, it looks like that might be possible. Because all I see people doing is taking more copper and coiling more copper. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. You also got to put some quartz in there. The mercury needs to be spinning. But I don't, you know what's wrong with that idea that the mercury needs to be spinning? It's that when the mercury catches energy, it spins automatically. So that doesn't make sense to spin it. Or would they spin it to generate the energy itself, right? Is that what catches it and fucking... And if you pay attention, all these cathodes and things are specific shapes, right? That you could shape the copper wire into that shape, right? And the thicker the wire, the more it would be able to catch. You get me? Well, that's the thing is, big-hearted, is that there is no ley lines, but I get where the concept of ley lines comes from. It's like they're marking the points where the energy's hit heavy, right? But that's only, like, those are cross points. Right, that's the point where the two energies are meeting. But I would wonder, like, does that mean that all the energies would be meeting at those points? Yeah, kind of, I guess. Well, the thing is, right, is that what you're wanting to do is mimic okay, look. So look, right? This is here. Let me show you something, right? This is what the aim is for gathering energy, right? Wait, put that back. Let me show you something, right? So, because of the fact that there's focal points where everything runs into each other, and this is all around you. It's not just like this big fucking giant grid like this. It's fucking minuscule. Like, it's keeping you fucking operating right now, right? But because that's there, that means that there's these points that are just generating energy that can be tapped into everywhere, right? That's why everybody that really gets a hold of anything, it's circular. It's a vortex of a sort. Because what you're doing is catching that energy and focal pointing it. Right? So, that's why all of the cathodes you get what I'm saying? Like, that's why they're shaped like this. It's working in tune with nature. That's why none of the buildings are truly square. They're all semi-rounded. Right? The closest thing that you'll find to square on them will be like a flower type shape. You get me? That's the only shape that works with all this shit. Look. It's not going to be perfect. I was just... You get me? Like, this is where... See, it's never going to be perfectly straight, right? It's always going to have... That's why the pyramids aren't perfectly straight. Jewels aren't shaped this way because of accident. They're shaped this way in order to capture energy. That's why they all have that point that can be broken. You never notice that they only shape jewels specific ways? There's limitations to what they can do with it because it's a raw structure of nature. These are energy that wasn't utilized. So it just became a solid. So the specific color determines the specific type of energy that was collected, which is the type of energy that is able to be drawn through or generated by exposure to sunlight. See, that's what jewelry's for. It's not for fucking everybody's just out here wearing. Some of y'all getting sick just because you're wearing the wrong shit. There's some people that have really, really, really weak systems right now just because they're wearing the wrong jewelry and wearing masses of it and shit. Because they take it and they put it in what? A metal that's conductive. Your ring. Right? So when your skin gets wet, right, the conductivity is now passing into your fucking system. You understand? So people out here just see, they're not using the tools that were given to them, right? Each one of these is tied to... Ooh, shut my pen off, sorry. right? Isn't each one tied to a specific planet that's also tied to a specific constellation of some sort? Right? Don't these planets and these constellations what is going on with this thing? I think it's getting time for me to get a new one. Hey, look. People out here using jewelry for the wrong shit. Look. Each one of these constellations and each one of these planets has specific attributes, right? Now, these stay on rotations, right? And that's where your calendar system comes in, right? Because the calendar specifically runs off of where all these things are located, all right? And due to that, there's specific things that grow during these times. You know, herbs. Different colors are produced. Different shapes are produced. You know, there's very specific things that come out of these, you know. Because these were made to tell you the different types of energies that were that were being utilized during specific moments in order for you to be able to figure out how to actually benefit from nature. Okay? Because being is how you don't practice, procreation on a specific schedule in order to ensure that you've included every single month in your production, right? You have deficiencies. Right? And those deficiencies are mapped out in specific time periods that you were not part of conception. And these are going to tell you the things that you will be deficient in. Right? Right. And if you know them, right, then you can turn around and see what kind of stone, what color, what type of herb, I think there's something else too, but I can't put my fucking finger on it. There's something else too. There's a mystery thing that goes here that I can't put my finger on right at the moment. But I will get back to you on that. You got herbs, colors, stones. There's something missing. Oh, there's something missing and I can't put my finger on it. It's going to drive me nuts. But so anyway, but the main part that you need to be focused on is the fact that you can find the name of the stone, and that stone will come in the color that you're looking for. All right? And you add that to some jewelry, preferably, something highly conductive. Gold works great. Okay. Look, they got y'all chasing a money system thinking that the gold and silver that they found was a form of currency. No, they decided that gold and silver were money. Okay. What they found was artifacts and medical and electrical what's the last one? Okay. What they found was conductors and tools, basically. But they decided that money was gold and silver and minerals and things, right? They decided that with their little fucking weirdo system and tried to enslave everybody with it. Everybody's chasing that dollar, and they use that to get gold and silver to think it shows a level of status, not understanding that the gold and silver was worn by pretty much everybody for a time period, and it was used in order to actually improve conditions. Oh, I get it. I get it, Sean. You're just one of those. Choop, choop. Hey, look. If you can find evidence, right, that actually makes sense. See, the thing is why I don't argue with people? You know why I don't argue with people? Because the things that I'm showing you are things that everybody should know basically. And everybody does know basically to a certain extent. They just don't really know that they know. That's why I don't waste time arguing with people and I just get rid of them. What's the point of keeping them around? I could keep them around so that I could let them fucking spam my comments and bring people in. But in reality, he's more disruptive and would be keeping their attention anyway. So there's no loss there. So this is the thing, is that if you start to build things along these patterns, right, in these shapes, and start to all right, look, what's this right here? Watch. No, don't undo it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Hey, look. That's your stained glass windows. That's also your DNA strand when looking at it from the top view down. That's also your eye. You get what I'm saying? Don't they shape? Aren't most of your diamonds shaped exactly like this or in a form of this? That's the same. It's a channeling. It channels down to a focal point. Then you have a conductor metal that's tied to it that see, now what do you think you need to do to activate it? Hey, look, what the fuck do I keep telling everybody? What do I tell everybody? What do I tell everybody? How you gonna activate it, right? You guys. Bloop, 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 bloop. See your foot. You gotta ground yourself. You already catch all the fucking energy from the sky. You have to ground yourself. They're like, oh, these primitive motherfuckers didn't wear... Hey, look, you know what's funny? Hey, check this out, right? Oh, I wish I would have took a picture of it when I found it. But look, check this out, right? Let's get rid of that. Yeah, there we go. All right, right? So this is the thing. Is... Let's go like this. Like this. Like this. Right. Now check this out. You have arms, they go out like this. I know, it's a little big for the fucking diagram, but you get the point. Okay, you get the point. Okay, this is you. Now look. First off, this is how you know that the people that think that they're from these things aren't, because they don't know why they do the things that they do. They just do it because it was shown to be the tradition, and they don't realize what the actual implications of it are. And it's not to be disrespectful, it's just that a lot of people have been lied to and they don't even realize that they've been lied to, but it's okay because, you know, at least they tried to keep it alive, what they found. And I like that part. Yeah. Or what they were taught. Get me? So look, this is the thing. All right, check this out. Let's go up one more layer. Bink. And let's raise this up to here. We'll do... Yeah, we'll go with yellow. All right, so check this out, right? This is the thing. Is if you go and look, right, you'll find that everybody wore bands around very specific parts of the arms and things in all of the ancient civilizations, right? They were around there. They had bands here. They wear a big ass gold plate on the chest, all right, and have many jewels in there, all right? See the vortexes being created, all right? And they tell you that you have a negative and a positive. Right, and it would be low to you have a negative and a positive, right, and it would be low to right, and if you notice, right, see, they were tapped in to the energies, right? See, most of them these days don't even wear the metal versions. Right? They wear wooden ones and stuff, and wood is still conductive, but it's not super conductive like that. Like it just helps it moving. But the meridians of the body, you know, they had specific jewelry of specific colors that they would wear, all right? And if you pay attention, it goes along, all of the shit that they were wearing literally followed the fucking energy. It followed the magnetism. You'd be like, oh, they got a lot of jewelry, they're rich. No, it was fucking typical standard shit. This is why they wear the headdresses and all that other shit. See, it's not, look, look, this is the thing, right? If you ask a native right now, it's a tool. It's a ceremonial thing. What's the one thing that catches something that's invisible? This is what I mean when I tell you that they really aren't who they think they are, right? They don't know the purpose and the very simple reasons why they do the practices that they do. They just know to do them. Feathers catch the ether. Birds are the one things that just literally coast and fly off of the ether. They don't fly because they're flapping. It controls and manipulates the ether. They're wearing the feathers because it brings in the energies. Okay? The things that they think that they're doing, they're not doing for the purposes that they're designed for it to do. They don't know any better. Same as the Jewish people wearing their little yam, the little hat that they wear, right? That's just a mirroring of it. They don't know. If you ask them, they'll tell you that they wear that hat to remind them that there's something above them. No, you're wearing that hat to increase the amount of magnitude that you're able to bring in. That's why it should be a linen fucking hat, because that's a tool, right? Clothing was a tool. It wasn't just something that you put on. Okay, and the people that give you mixed clothing, the whole reason that they're mixing all of that shit is because they knew that. These are the tools that are being used against you, that are working against the natural magnetism in the way that nature works. All right? Clothing back then was worn for purpose. It wasn't worn for indecency purposes, although it did become that after a time. It was worn for the purpose of energy. What up, Chuck? That's what it was for. Oh, nice. That sounds dope. But that's the thing is, you know, people mock it, right? I'm starting to learn it myself, but like, you know, people mock it. But that's because there's so many fraudulent people running around with it. But astrology indeed does give you keys to your health and your longevity. Right? It explains the salts that everybody's deficient in. Right? All your mineral deficiencies. All you gotta do is pay attention to the magnetism, and it puts all the pieces together. See you later, Brillo. I'm about to hop up off of here myself. But just to be clear, just because I'm talking to you about this does not mean that I'm going to hop in your inbox trying to offer you a tarot reading or some crazy shit, okay? No, you know you can, Alice's. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hop up off of here. It was a good little chat. Thank you for having this little session with me. See, y'all, like, you know, it's good because I get to go over stuff, right? And I like it because it makes me think, and then I figure extra stuff out sometimes. So thank you guys for participating. I will catch you on the next round.